Express Concert Series. Supply is limited. American Express terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Good morning, America. Deadly storms ravage half the country. Winds topping 80 miles an hour, sending trees flying. Flash floods forcing rescues. Lightning hitting an airport. Hundreds of flights canceled. Now this morning, 50 million Americans in the storm zone.
Also breaking, North Korea threatens to cancel that historic summit with President Trump over pressure to abandon their nuclear weapons. What does this curveball from Kim Jong-un reveal about their negotiating strategy? The White House response this morning.
Deadly explosion in California.
I need to have the building evacuated, all crews pulled back from the incident.
Bomb squads on the scene. Dozens of children nearby forced to evacuate. Authorities now investigating. Was this blast intentional?
New twist in the royal wedding drama. Meghan Markle's father reportedly undergoing heart surgery this morning, expected to miss the big day, as Meghan's mother heads to London. And we'll also tell you the roles little George and Charlotte will play in the wedding.
And forget the dress. The new debate driving people crazy.
Laurel.
What do you hear? Is it Laurel or Yanny?
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. I know it is supposed to be a debate, but Harper and I listened about a dozen times yesterday. All we could hear was Yanni.
Yanni, that's all we heard.
I can't wait till it's over.
Well, Michael, they're calling it the new dress. Remember
I
that
remember
before?
that.
You know, was it black and blue or was it white and gold?
White and gold.
Black and blue.
Well, they're divided over this audio clip as
You
well.
think that's gold, George?
White and gold, yeah.
That's okay.
That's black and blue.
That's
right?
black and blue.
Yeah.
George thinks it's gold.
You thought it was gold?
White and gold.
Here we go.
All right, we're going to move on. We're going to move on from the dress and Yanni and Laurel and all that stuff, because we're going to begin with those deadly storms that are tearing through the Midwest in the Northeast overnight, killing at least 5 people. Take a look at the giant storm cloud that's moving over New York City. Hundreds of thousands are without power this morning. ABC's Gio Benitez is in Mahwah, New Jersey, where a tree collapsed on a home. Good morning, Gio.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Just an incredible scene here. Just take a look at how big this tree is, okay? Now look at what this tree did to this garage. In fact, there's an antique car in there. You could probably see the license plate. Incredibly, the owner was working on that car just an hour before this tree came crashing down. He's okay. He went into the house. But boy, what a dangerous situation across the Northeast. This was the moment that powerful and deadly storm began to wail. You can hear the wind whipping through the trees as debris began to fly. Torrential rains making it nearly impossible to see. Lightning striking alarmingly close to this highway. And a traveler at a Connecticut airport posting this photo. In some cities, every single road shut down.
We have trees into houses, people trapped between trees on the roads, trees on cars, everything you can think of.
Trees downed, cars crushed, and streets completely swamped.
I've never seen anything like this.
Plus, thousands of travelers stranded as the evening commute came to a screeching halt.
We left D.C. at 5:40 p.m. Tuesday. Now it's Wednesday.
Overnight, this train trapped by floodwaters just outside Washington, D.C., marooning passengers for hours.
The water was rising, and it became it got kind of scary for me.
The massive downpour creating a state of emergency in parts of New York and flash flooding in Baltimore. Dozens of people stranded by the rising water. This picture from the Frederick News Post shows a child being pulled to safety after he and his family got trapped in a minivan. And this man was rescued after getting swept away in his car. And again, at least 5 people were killed in this storm. And it just underscores how important it is to get inside a safe building, because they were killed because they were inside cars when the trees came crashing down. Michael.
All right, thank you so much, Gio. And that massive storm system is also causing problems this morning. Ginger is tracking it all. And Ginger, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael. And at least 360 severe storm reports, so many of them from that wind damage. Then the flash flooding. That's the next thing that we've got to worry about. More than a dozen rescues just in Frederick, Maryland alone. You can see 3 to 6+ inches of rain fell very quickly, and that's going to happen for more folks today. Let me explain what's going on here. That same stationary front that has caused all of this, low pressure systems riding along it, kicking up the atmosphere's energy, that's going to keep staying stationary and sit right over the mid-Atlantic. As it's draped there, it's going to allow that low that's coming out of the Gulf to push moisture up toward it, and it's going to squeeze. And you'll see training thunderstorms just round after round dropping up to 4 inches. Robin?
I want everybody to stay safe. All right, Ginger, thank you. Now to that new threat from North Korea, saying they could cancel the summit with President Trump after the U.S. and South Korea conducted joint military drills. Our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, has the latest. And Martha, North Korea now saying they will not be pressured into giving up their nuclear weapons. Good morning.
Good morning, Robin. The negative rhetoric coming from North Korea escalated overnight and into this morning, threatening the summit that has seemed a certainty.
Overnight, a sudden roadblock ahead of the highly anticipated summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. North Korea's Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs and former nuclear negotiator threatening to pull out of the meeting if the U.S. insists on unilateral nuclear abandonment, and taking direct aim at President Trump's new national security advisor, John Bolton, saying we do not hide our feelings of repugnance towards him. Bolton talking about denuclearization on Sundays this week.
Implementation of the decision means getting rid of all the nuclear weapons.
The tough words come hours after North Korea canceled today's talks with South Korea over ongoing U.S.-South Korea military exercises. The North's Korean Central News Agency adding this message: the United States will also have to undertake careful deliberations about the fate of the planned North Korea-U.S. summit in light of this provocative military ruckus. The about face seemed to catch the State Department by surprise.
We have not heard anything from that government or the government of South Korea to indicate that we would not continue conducting these exercises.
And at that triumphant late-night return of those American prisoners, President Trump made it clear he has high hopes for his meeting with Kim Jong-un.
I really think he wants to do something and bring that country into the real world.
But today, the reality of dealing with the mercurial North Korean leader is setting in.
The U.S. and South Korea had postponed military exercises during the Olympics, but will not cancel the current exercises that are happening right now.
Could this be a negotiating tactic by them?
It sure could be. They could be saying, let the games begin right now and figure out what they want from the United States. You know, we've been asking this question over and over again. What do they want? They've freed the prisoner. They said originally they denuclearized. Now it looks like they're in a little bit of a negotiating stage. The one thing we know is Kim Jong-un is as unpredictable as President Trump.
That is certain. All right. Thank you, Martha.
Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega here as well. Let's stay on this theme right now. As Martha pointed out in her piece, the president has had pretty high expectations for this summit. Any initial White House reaction to these North Korean statements?
Well, they released a watered-down statement saying that they're going to continue to coordinate with allies, that they're looking into these reports from the South Korean media. And as far as we know, this summit from the White House's perspective is still being planned. Just as Martha was saying, though, this caught the administration off guard. There's this now push to find out, as Robin just said, whether this is a negotiating ploy by Kim Jong-un or whether this is actually something they need to take seriously. For now, it's still going to happen. This is a setback, unclear exactly how big of a setback.
Yeah, but what the president has said, the president, when he talks about it, always talks about, yes, they're agreeing to denuclearize. It's getting pretty clear that both the United States and North Korea have different definitions of that.
Completely, but let's also remember that the president has also carried, through everything he said, left this window open that things could fall apart on this. He has always said, I want to sit down with him, but it may or it may not happen. So, as Martha just said, I mean, is there anyone more unpredictable than Kim Jong-un?
Hard to know right now. One more thing, this White House focus on leaks is really getting intense.
Yeah, they cannot get this one under control. There is a push afoot, perhaps for some people to lose their jobs over this latest leak about the comments, these grotesque comments, frankly, about John McCain that happened in a staff meeting. There are reports out there that there are sweeps happening in the West Wing right now, looking for personnel personal phones inside the West Wing that have been banned. The president is calling these leakers traitors, but we've got to remember, these are people that he hired. They are on his team, people leaking about his own administration.
Inside his White House to say thanks very much. To politics now, and the results of last night's primary battles in 4 states. Women candidates the big winners last night in races that will shape control of Congress. Our senior congressional correspondent Mary Bruce is on Capitol Hill with all the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, this was a huge night for female candidates. Look, if Democrats stand a chance of taking back the House, then Pennsylvania is going to be key. And last night, Democratic voters there showed they can turn out high numbers and that some of those women are poised to make history. Overnight, the pink wave rolled through Pennsylvania, women showing their strength in nearly every corner of the state.
A lot of them are mothers, and they care about the average person and their household and the things that matter to the families in America.
At least 7 Democratic female candidates scoring victories in a state that currently has no female representatives in Washington.
I hope very much to be one of many people who break that trend.
Chrissy Houlihan, a veteran and small business owner, says it's time women step up.
I think women are uniquely qualified to be able to be those collaborators and to be able to be those unifiers.
And in Idaho, State Representative Paulette Jordan winning the Democratic primary for governor.
Idaho is needing us. They need our voices.
She's now poised to make history and could be the country's first Native American female governor. But President Trump's presence still felt.
We have a big election in November. We got one more to go.
In the Keystone State, Trump's close ally, Congressman Lou Barletta, coming out on top in his race for Senate. Now, many of these races are a big test for President Trump. The president, of course, narrowly won Pennsylvania in 2016. Now, Republicans are hoping for a do-over there come November, while Democrats see the state as a chance to pick up several seats and propel them to retaking the House. George.
Okay, Mary Bruce, thanks very much. Robin?
Okay, George, now to that mysterious explosion that left 1 person dead in California. You can see the extensive damage inside. ABC's Kana Whitworth is there on the scene for us this morning. And Kana, the FBI and Homeland Security, we know that they are investigating.
Yeah, Robin, and the Orange County Sheriff's Office is taking the lead on this investigation as they try and determine the cause of this explosion. This morning, questions are swirling as authorities fail to rule anything out. Could it have been a ruptured gas line or perhaps something much more sinister?
A deadly explosion rocking a Southern California community.
I need to have the building evacuated, all crews pulled back from the incident.
Chaos just after 1 p.m. in the first floor of this medical building. Plumes of white smoke pouring out, debris sent flying into the parking lot. First responders racing to help. The FBI, ATF, and the bomb squad combing the scene for answers. Nearby witnesses describing the horrendous blast.
We heard a very loud boom, and I actually felt the building shake.
And saw the fire come out on one side, the insulation on the other popping out and whatnot, debris all over the floor.
These photos inside the building showing the breadth of the damage. Sheriff's deputies in gas masks looking for clues. The blast killing 1 woman and at least 3 others injured. A federal official telling the Associated Press that the explosion was believed to be an intentional act.
We have not found any type of specific device inside of the building right now that could tell us or lead us to what exactly the device was, if it was a device.
People in nearby buildings forced to evacuate, including dozens of small children across the street, leaving the building holding hands, some wheeled out in their cribs.
To have to do something like that with those little kids, that had to have been so scary.
It's horrible. It's a tragedy. Anytime you're near this or you see it, it's going to affect you.
So I spoke with a former FBI special agent who says that if this was intentional and not terrorism, then we have a bomb maker who attacked their victim, and that is a very dangerous situation. All authorities will confirm right now is that they're analyzing surveillance video. Robin?
Dangerous and frightening. All right, Kana, thank you. Michael?
All right, thank you, Robin. Now to the growing volcano threat in Hawaii. Officials raising the alert level this morning as more cracks appear. Take a look at these satellite images showing Hawaii's Big Island a year ago and now. After those eruptions after those eruptions. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is on the ground with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Scientists are telling us that those towering clouds of ash that you just saw are the start of what you could call the main event here. They say that ash could smother parts of the island, could close down the airports, and this could last for 2 weeks and is only forecast to intensify.
The Kilauea volcano firing burst after burst of volcanic ash skyward. Those columns of gas and ash reaching 12,000 feet, growing more explosive this morning, dropping ash on sections of the Big Island of Hawaii in what scientists are calling the start of the biggest explosive eruption at Kilauea since 1924. Officials warning residents living near the volcano to stay indoors and airplanes to stay away. That volcanic ash mixing with rain clouds and producing acid rain. All this comes as the 20th fissure cracked open the earth, pumping out clouds of sulfur dioxide. Officials here declaring a condition red in parts of the Big Island, with the gas posing an immediate danger to health. We walked down roads impassable and cracked open by those thermal vents.
These plants haven't been burned. It is some of the fumes that have actually killed them over the past 10 days of continuous exposure to this hazardous gas.
At least 5 new eruptions since Saturday, rattling some of the 400 residents who defied the mandatory evacuation orders. The lava in those fissures is draining from Kilauea. The volcano's cauldrons are dipping.
Michael, now, while it's important to note that 2,000 people have been ordered to flee their homes and 40 structures have been destroyed, nobody's been actually hurt by this volcanic activity. In fact, you could say the biggest casualty here has been Hawaii tourism, which largely relies on the Volcano National Park, but its closure and people's fear has caused tourism bookings to drop here by 50%. Michael.
All right, thank you so much, Matt, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said we're glad no one is hurt. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Hard not to be scared by those sights, though. Now we're going to remember Tom Wolfe. The path-breaking journalist, best-selling novelist, died Monday at age 88 in New York City. Over 6 decades, Wolfe penned several bestsellers, including Bonfire of the Vanities and The Right Stuff. His writing explored the underbelly of American life, class, race, the gulf between rich and poor. White suits, you see them there. They were his signature, along with deep reporting, satire, sense of whimsy. He coined the terms radical chic, social x-ray, and the me decade. Wolfe once said, the great thing about being a writer is that they can't fire you, they can stop publishing your stuff, but so far that hasn't happened, and for Wolfe it never did.
Exceptional man and exceptional life. All right. We're going to turn now to the NBA playoffs. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers falling short last night. How about this scary moment? LeBron going down, hitting the head in the second quarter. He had to leave for a short time. He suffered a strained neck, but he eventually did return to the court. Ended up scoring 42 points. Wasn't enough. Boston coming back in the second half. They are now leading the series 2-0. And if the Cavs get knocked out, because they're halfway there, the Celtics are, the Cavs get knocked out, it'll be the first time since, I think, 2010 that LeBron hasn't made it to the finals.
Yeah, which is pretty outstanding. And the Celtics are missing 2 of their best players as well, but a young, aggressive, and fun team to watch.
They are.
All right, now we're going to go back to Ginger with more severe weather in the plains. Ginger.
Right, it wasn't just the Northeast that got the severe weather. This is Hart, Texas. More than 80-mile-per-hour winds between Lubbock and Amarillo. You can see the images there. There were several that happened from there to Arkansas, and more to come for Thursday and Friday. Your local forecast in just 30 seconds. First, though, the rainy cities, sponsored by CarMax.
You can now reserve a car online, and CarMax will hold it for you up to 7 days for free. You come in when it's convenient. I know this because I'm from 7 days in the future. Now, don't be frightened. 7 days in the future is a glorious place. After all, you had 2 good hair days in a row. Perfect. Right out of bed. And this car you reserved at CarMax.com is still being held for you for free. Pretty sweet. Or, as we like to say, from 7 days in the future, we still say pretty sweet. It's basically the same.
From severe thunderstorm warnings, what we've seen over the last couple of days, to that of seeing some flood warnings. We've got some flood warnings this morning, Loudoun and Frederick County, and I do think that by the end of the week, likely to see dramatic rises in the creeks, streams, and rivers. Chance of rain continues even through the weekend, as we could get an additional 4 to 7 inches of rain. Today, cooler, getting into the upper 70s by 3 o'clock this afternoon. There's your rain threat with that isolated storm. The weekend cooler, 77 Saturday, 84 Sunday.
Coming up, as Meghan Markle's mother heads to London for the royal wedding, what we're now learning about Meghan's father reportedly undergoing heart surgery and how Meghan and Prince Harry are responding.
And was it a crime of passion? A former Pennsylvania schoolteacher gunned down in her family's driveway on Mother's Day. The search for a killer right now.
The sun is shining, so why binge in here when you